Hi, my name is John Bike, and this is my attempt at my first flipped classroom lesson. And I intend to be a high school math teacher, so I wanted to give it a go at a math subject that I'm sure I'll have to teach one day. So I went for Algebra 1, solving for x, one of the key parts of algebra, and it's one of the things you need to learn before you advance in your math in high school. It's one of the key things. So I try to give it a go with that. So for this for this presentation, I'd like you, and you guys would be my students. If I was the actual teacher, I was a teacher now. I'd like you guys to watch these two links to get a good idea about solving for x in equations. The first video is mostly about solving for x in one-step equations when there's only one step. You move something over, and then you have x. The second video gives you a good idea how to do it for two-step equations when there's multiple things you need to do. I recommend watching the video 1 to 2 times, or as many times as it needs for you to get a good idea on the subject. Because the more you know right now, the more you can learn before the class tomorrow, the better you'll do in the class tomorrow. And it's good to also know what you don't know. So remember, when you're watching the videos, take notes of what you don't get so you can ask it the next day in class so we can go over it. After watching the first video, well, this is just key for anything in solving for x. These are the 3 things you need to remember. I put it here so that if you have trouble when you're actually doing some examples, you can look at these 3 steps, and then you'll remember how to do the problem. This should help a lot. The step 1 is find the variable. In most cases, in one-step equations, your variable is going to be x, but it could be s, it could be t. It really does not matter, because the variable there's going to be just one variable, and you need to find that one variable. The only job. So when you first look at an equation, look at the variable, and that's step 1. And then step 2 is what happens to the variable. So in the example I put here, I put x plus 7 equals 14. What is happening to x here? It is being added by 7. So what's going on in this case to x is being plus 7, is being added by 7. In step 3, now that we know what is happening to x, we inverse what is happening to x. We inverse both sides of the equation. So if x is being added by 7, we know that the inverse of addition is subtraction. So we need to subtract 7 from x. So you have x plus 7 equals 14. So to the left side, you take the inverse, you subtract 7. On the right side, you subtract 7. So I'd like you to have a pen and paper out when you're watching this video and go over it. So x plus 7 equals 14. You inverse the left side, minus 7, inverse the right side, minus 7. What you'll be left with is x equals 7. And that is your answer. And if you ever think you're wrong on these ones, or you don't know if you're right, just plug in the x value and see if the equation works. And if it works, you did it right. And if it didn't work, you did it wrong. You need to go back and look at it. Those are the 3 steps that will help you solve one-step variables all the time. Those 3 steps, if you remember to do those 3 steps, you'll be good. Now what I'd like you to do is practice. So I put 4 different problems here. The first one, x minus 8 equals 24. The second one, 2x equals 18. 3, x minus 30 equals 90. Sorry, that's a little confusing. It's x minus 30 equals 90. So you can write that down. And number 4, 4x plus 16 equals 64. And that's a 2-step equation, which is mentioned in the second video. So if you need help on that one, just remember, take note, and we'll go over it together. So you can pause the video now. I want you to pause the video and then try to do these equations. And then we'll go over the answers together on the next one. So pause the video right now. After you've done those equations, you can see that the first answer should be x equals 32. The second answer is x equals 9. The third one is x equals 120. And the fourth one is x equals 12. And for the first one, let's go back to that page. For the first one, what is happening to x here? It is being subtracted by 8. So you have to take the inverse to both sides. So you add 8 to the left side, x minus 8. You got to add 8 to that, and then add 8 to the other side. And what you're going to be left with is x equals 32. And 32 is your answer for that one. Number 2, 2x equals 18. What is happening to x here? Well, the first step is finding the variable. What is the variable here? x. X is your variable. The second step is, what is happening to x? In this case, x is being multiplied by 2. And we know what the inverse for multiplication is division. So we need to divide x by 2, and we divide the right side, which is 18 by 2. So you're left with x equals 9 is your answer. And you plug it in, you'll get 18 equals 18, and then it works. Number 3, x minus 30 equals 90. What is happening? The variable here is x. That was pretty easy to find. What is happening to x? It is being subtracted by 30. You need to take the inverse of subtract by 30 and add by 30 to both sides of the equation. So the left side, x minus 30 plus 30, and then 90 plus 30. What you're left with is x equals 120 as your answer. And you plug in 120, and there's your answer. For the fourth one, this is a two-step. So you find the variable, which the variable is x, and you find out what is happening to x here. So there are actually two things happening to x here. The first one is being multiplied by 4, but the second one is being added by 16. So in this case, you would get rid of the 16 first because it is not touching the x. So you would take the inverse of plus 16 to both sides, to the left side and the right side. So you do 4x plus 16 and then minus 16 for that equals 64 minus 16. So what you'll get from the first step is 4x equals 48. Now you're left with 4x equals 48. Now there's still something happening to x here. It is being multiplied by 4. So we need to take the inverse of multiplying by 4 and divide by 4. When you divide by 4 to both sides, you get 4x divided by 4 equals 64 divided by 4. And what you're left with is x equals 12. And you can plug 12 back into the original equation, and you'll get 64 equals 64. And that's the right answer. That is how you know you are doing it right. Here are the answers. If you need to go over them again, if you want to practice them again, you can do it anytime. The video is always open. And now that you've watched these videos in the PowerPoint, you should be prepared what is to come the next day in class. The point of this PowerPoint and the point of this video is if you miss class or you did not get it, if you miss class mostly, but this is a sign for you to be ready for the next day. You watch these two short videos, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. You can watch them once or twice, wherever long it takes. You take notes on them if you don't get it, and be ready to do this stuff in class the next day. And remember where you had issues, so take notes, and be prepared to ask questions the next day in class, because the next day in class is designed for you to understand the concept fully. This is an opening, a warm-up basically, to the concept. You get a good grasp of it, you try to get a good grasp of it at least, and then the next day you try to learn it. You master your learning. The point of this is mastery. Thank you for watching. I hope this is a good attempt at a flipped classroom. Please leave comments on how I can improve. I appreciate your time. Thank you.